Thank you. So it's a question for the last presenter especially, but also for the others. I was curious if you have research or how do you know on how teachers use these resources for their practice? Because I think...
We've done research about 5 years ago with the University of Ghent. Asking teachers, how do you use the content, what do you do with it in the classroom? That's why we know that the inspiration is really the main reason to use Klassement. We've also, last year, we just asked the question in a pop-up. When they searched something, the pop-up appeared asking, why do you come here? Please answer in one word. And the main word, if you have the word cloud afterwards, was inspiration and lesson content. So that's the reason why they come. Of course, just to win time. And that's, if you see the replies, the reactions from all teachers is, oh, thank you for, finally I found you, or thanks that you were here already. Why do I know this already now, only now and not 10 years ago? So we still actively promoting it, because there's still a lot of teachers who are mainly, sometimes also beginning now to use extra content, and then they use Klassement. It's also, there's a really strong and active range of publishers in Flanders, and really good textbooks as well. Teachers use Klassement on top of that. So they have their own textbook, but they make extra content on top of the books they use in the classroom.
Thank you.
Thank you. The navigation system, I am interested in some subject, and there are about 10 contents which is connected with that, how you will handle it. And also some of the content is dynamic, that is changing in time. So how you ensure there are some upgrades or updates of the stuff in there?
Like you could see, you can sort on number of reactions, number of favorites. So the most popular content is on top. Since 2 weeks, we have our own relevance system. Like you have a page rank in Google, we now have what we call our fame rank. So there's a really quite mathematical formula taking into account the time that the content is already on Klassement, the number of favorites, the number of reactions, that's for the sorting of the content. And then we have our team of moderators. So they not only check new content, but of course, when there is time, they also go through older content. For instance, things like lessons for the Olympic Games of 2004. That's not relevant anymore now, so that's going to be deleted. Or also sometimes you have a newsletter every Saturday. Then we ask teachers to review old content or to make something new, to update content. So we use the community to have an active and a database with good content.
Navigation and links to the other subjects. My question was also about navigation, because the subject I'm interested in is links to maybe 10 other stuff which is in here. So how you will handle that?
You mean
navigation? How you will? I am interested in some subjects.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go. It's favorite or not, yeah. But it links to 10 others, which may kind of make some add value in there. So how you will handle it?
Well, if you start on Klassement, most of the people search by keyword, but you can also search by subject. So if like me, I used to be teacher of mathematics, I can search for mathematics. I can even search for the grade that if I teach children of 17 years, that I have only my content. And then, of course, you will still have maybe 20 or 30 resources. And then it depends a bit on the topic you want to teach. But all the content is in our own database, so we don't. We link to other websites as well, but that is still linked out of our own database. So then it's just part of the rest of the content. I'm not sure.
Thank you very much. I have a question: that how do you deal with the national curriculum requirements? Because I'm coming from Hungary, we have this you know, very high level of expectation of all the pedagogical content. Do you use like something like a metadata tool, or do you make a marker or something that it is part of the national curriculum, outside on the top, behind?
Really interesting question. As moderator, like I said, we check spelling mistakes, metadata, copyright issues, but no pedagogical issues, which is a bit strange, but we're also just a teacher, like the ones who are using it in the classroom. So we're not going into discussion saying, oh, what you are doing there, I think on the didactical thing, that's not possible, because normally they have done it, and okay, you can start discussions, but we leave that to the community. They can reply, they can comment. What we do is, of course, we add metadata like subjects and keywords and some themes, also the age level and so on. But there's no connection with the official end terms or curriculum goals from the Ministry of Education. Although we're part of the ministry, we don't make that connection. Sometimes teachers do, then we leave it like they think it is. But some learning resource for instance, travel to Paris in France, and you can use that from a point of view as a history teacher, you can use it as a geography teacher, you can use it as a teacher of French. So it depends on the teacher what he or she wants to do with the content. So we leave that really to the teacher.
Apart from all the usage statistics that were already, mentioned by you and the French platforms, are you interested in looking at the impact in the classroom and learning? Are you envisaging any studies going a little bit further than the statistics that can be just easily downloaded? That's also a question for Hans and for the French colleagues who are already on it, and of course the Wallonie who's planning on it. And if any help is needed.
We are really interested, yes. But it's hard to measure, like you told. Right? There are so many circumstances and other reasons to measure the real impact. Of course, thanks to the reactions we have and visits to school we do, we see some kind of impact, and already helping teachers to win time to make better resources themselves is kind of an impact. But what with the results from the students, I don't know.
Thanks. For les banques de ressources numériques, digital resources for school, they are really young, so it's only the second year, but really we need your help, of course, researchers. And we consider that there is some evolution for special needs publics, because it's the first time we have this amount of resources for all curriculum. So it's a special point. It's only 305,000 students, but it's a lot for them. It's the first time that they can have some resources for them. So of course we need some help researchers. In France, it's not easy, because it's Ministry of Education is for primary school and secondary school, and another ministry is in charge of universities. So it's not that easy.
And maybe we can say that we are looking for new technical ideas, because anybody speak here about the LRS, the learning recording system with the API. So this is technical, but we want to have a look on not only the traffic, the learning analytics, but also on how the teachers, how the pupils use in the exercise, in the manipulating everything they want. So it's quite new, and I think we will put this specification in the new procurements we are working on. So maybe, but it's new also. We are working with as well the pedagogical as well the technological possibilities.
Exactly. That's really, I think it's very reassuring to hear that the thinking goes at the same time when the development goes, because in hindsight, these things are very hard to do. So when you're planning and doing some procurement, it would be great to think of that kind of things at the same time. And one thing is just because we just don't know how much use is a good use, you know. So then also to put those goals, you know, how many teachers or how long time should they be using these resources and something like that. So to get any evidence of the current use already allows us to benchmark something and go further.
But we have also to be cautious with the freedom they have to do this or not to do this. I think so, and we don't have to, as Axel or I, we were teachers before working at the ministry. So I'm an history teacher, for example. But we have to be cautious because we don't want also to have only monitoring courses. It's not a question on monitoring and on reporting.
But of course, I understand, but also the learning analytics, we think of them as a use for empowering the user. So this, in this case, maybe empowering the teacher in their practices. And it shouldn't be, you know, like there's always the fine line, and it's also like how do you address the issue. But maybe if we think of those as a tools to allow teachers to better know about their own practices and their colleagues' practices, and the sharing would become, you know, through that, because they already shared the resources. So why wouldn't we also start sharing a little bit of the usage statistics or something like that?
Yeah, and maybe there is a difference between the last presentation and our presentation, because just like you said, this is a peer-to-peer and not linked with the curricula. And not link, I think, about, I don't know the word in English, but maybe it's the same, validation by the inspectors, etc., etc. In France, we have many stakeholders to be involved in. So maybe it's quite difficult, it's quite different.
Thank you. I think that was the last question, but one more small question for Deborah.
Okay, thank you. It follows on from the different approaches that we've seen. I think, you know, you presented yours as really a bottom-up approach. Would you say that that was the key to getting the community sharing going? And do you think it's actually possible for that sharing and rating to take off in a more top-down approach?
That's a difficult one. To me, it's key because the classement is part of the community of teachers, and they really, also in all our communication, we always, when we send newsletters, we talk about it's your portal. Your portal has something new, and so on. So, the fact that we are now part of the Ministry of Education already means that we are now also having some more top-down communication, and but still our team are all teachers, and we go to schools, we do teacher training, so they see that we are talking as a teacher to them, and that then it works as well. As long as you're, I think that the team is also important. If you're all civil servants and really thinking top down, and so then it won't work. Not with a big ministry logo or something. No, it has to be, and that we have to defend ourselves in ministry on that, because it's sometimes difficult.
You can see here we have two different models, top down, bottom up. Is it top down or not? Well, I think you have plenty of things to work with.
But yours is really bottom up. Ours, I insisted at the area level of regional area, you know, not the national level. And the effectiveness, of course, is peer-to-peer at local area. That's the point. I think so.